Mackenzie, thank you for joining us today.
I can take off? Okay. Thank you for having me.
And we will take the first question from Jeff Wagenheim with ESPN. Jeff, please go ahead.
Hey, Mackenzie. I just have one question for you. Is about the cage you'll be fighting in as a jiu-jitsu world champion. Obviously, when you get somebody down to the canvas, that puts you in a position where you can feel real strong. And I'm wondering, in a smaller cage than what is typical for the UFC, what do you think about fighting in that smaller octagon?
I think it's less space for them to run away, So I think it's good for us. Mostly the people that fight me, their strategy is like to get in and get out and keep the space. So, smaller octagons, less space to run around and be able to take it down. So I'm happier about that.
Now, I imagine you probably have competed before you came to the UFC in cages that are smaller. Some of the other promotions have littler places, but the UFC octagon, obviously the regular one, is 30 feet. And so have you found it to be more challenging to get a hold of and get a grasp on somebody in the bigger cage? I mean, is that something you're thinking this time you maybe won't have to deal with?
Yeah, for sure. When it's the bigger rings, octagons, even sparrings and stuff that I've done in the bigger ones, I just saw kind of a lot more chasing. I need to have like my wrestling on point. In jiu-jitsu we always pull guards, so when it's a lot of space and everything, I always find myself like in the sparring, like, okay, I have to chase. So I think it's going to be a lot better that it's going to be if it's smaller.
All right, so no chasing this time, huh?
I hope not.
All right, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will take the next question from Jay Anderson with Cageside Press. Jay, please go ahead.
Hey, thanks very much. And Mackenzie, I mean, Hannah's not exactly known for her ground game, but she is a gritty fighter. So I'm wondering if you just give us your thoughts, first of all, on the matchup.
Yeah, I think she's a really tough girl, It's good that she has a lot of fights in the UFC. I was able to watch a lot of her fights, winning and losing. When she has like confidence in her coming forward, and when she's kind of not comfortable in the fight and more walking back and stuff like that. So from most of the fights I saw like you said, the ground is kind of her weakest point. And obviously that's my strongest point. So that's definitely going to be the strategy. No secret to that. And then I see a lot like her hands are pretty heavy hands. So of course, as long as I don't get knocked out, and can stay in there and be able to take it to the ground, I don't want to go to like decision with this fight. I saw a lot of like leg kicks, so if I can catch, one of those legs, take down, I think that's going to be the best route to winning.
Do you ever have the urge to kind of prove something on the feet? Everybody expects you to take the fight to the ground. Do you ever feel like just standing in there and trading a little?
When I feel like standing, it's like when I get one punch and I see like a hurt, then I kind of like grow and I say, oh man, it's like working, the stand up. And then I'm not even thinking about the fans or my coaches or anything, so I kind of forget like, oh yeah, the strategy is always to go to the ground. But I think that's just natural, like when you see something's working and you see like, oh, maybe they can get knocked down, you kind of grow on it. But I don't feel anything to prove that everyone's gonna always criticize no matter what. So I don't really like try to prove too much my stand-up. The only thing is I really like try to work my stand-up a little bit, because I think everyone who fights me, the whole camp, is like just ground defense, takedown defense. So just want to work my stand-up so they respect my stand-up, and then make it easier for me to take them down, But I think that's the real reason why I end up doing stand-up sometimes and going away from my jiu-jitsu, is because or I feel their takedowns are so good, or maybe I hit one good one and then I kind of like get too excited,
Now, I mean, I know you've lost before in jiu-jitsu competition, but you're coming off your first loss here in MMA. Does that change the motivation for you? Does it light a fire under you?
Yeah, definitely. It sucks to lose, It's like you said, I've lost before in jiu-jitsu, but it's way more common that you can lose one day in the weight class, and then in the same day you come and win the absolute division and maybe even fight the same girl that beats you in your own division, so it's kind of like you moves on the results, fast. And then in MMA, I'm almost like the same amount of time as I was pregnant, like almost 10 months without fighting. And I understand, like because I lost, the priority obviously goes to the people who are winning, but definitely like gives like a fire, like, man, I don't want to be in this situation where like I don't have that much priority anymore, you want to be able to be the person that you can fight when you want to fight, ask for fights and all these things. So definitely like you kind of lose a lot of credibility and stuff like that. So it's different to go through that in MMA, but for sure I don't wanna have that anymore. I want to come back on the winning streak and really show all the potential I have.
And last from for me, I mean, you mentioned your daughter. Does being a mother change how you look at the pandemic and fighting right now? Because you're not just thinking about yourself now; you're also thinking about her.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like I thought it was good and bad fighting on during this whole situation, the coronavirus. I thought it was good because a lot of people are at home, and I thought like, okay, a lot of people are gonna be watching. I think no one really has their best like cardio and gas tank right now, so I think it's a lot more technical fights and more best strategy, best technique, and things like that. Not necessarily like, oh, the better athlete in the whole rounds and things like that. So I thought this was a good time for me to really show like my potential, but also too, I never want to fight like, oh, because I need to make money, I need to pay the bills, I need to do these things, I have a daughter and I need to, that was never like my intention to get into MMA. I want to do it just because I love to be fighting and stuff like that. And I've been scheduled to fight since January, was a different opponent, and then it changed to Hannah, and then was pushed down to May. So even though I'm happy to be fighting and grateful that I'm able to have like my job, during these times, it's hard to, because it's like a long camp, and then like it's one person, and then change so, and it's different. I wasn't able to bring my daughter with me this time, and I don't know, it's the first time I'm away from her, so it was always good to know like, okay, if I win, if I lose, whatever, my daughter's at the hotel waiting for me, and everything. So it's kind of mixed emotions. I'm happy, of course, grateful. Not everyone has like the ability to work right now and everything like that. So for sure. And I'm happy to be able to have a good platform. I think everyone's going to be watching. I know a lot of people all around the world are watching. But at the same time, it's definitely challenging to get through all this and really show like the best fighter I am, because I think no one who's fighting now is in the best camp possible.
All right, Mackenzie, thanks very much for the time. Best of luck Saturday.
Thank you.
We'll take the next.
Oh, no.
We'll take the next question with Jim Varsalon with the Miami Herald. Jim, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm just curious what your thoughts of this fight and being taking place back in Las Vegas, having UFC back in Las Vegas, how important that is, and just the whole part of this historic card, because it is coming back from COVID-19 and being a part of all this.
Yeah, I'm really excited, to finally be here. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't sure it was gonna happen, I was just waiting until like the ticket was in my hands, like, okay, it's gonna happen, But of course, training, because you never know, Dana White is crazy, he makes the things happen anywhere around the world. So I'm really excited that it was able to be in Vegas. Of course, Vegas, like the athletic commission, is a little bit more strict than like Florida, for example. Like I couldn't bring my husband, my wife, and it's a little bit of, like a lot of quarantine and things like that. But man, I don't think there's like a better place to have the fights. I had my first UFC win here in Vegas. So I'm really, really excited to be back. They have the institute here, so I already went, got my massages. Later today, I'm gonna go do my training at the institute in the octagon. So it's a really good place. I have all my food here with me. They're helping me. I'm already like on weight today. So it's definitely a good place to go through this whole process.
What has the testing process been like too? Because obviously this is all something new to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, the UFC, they really doing such a good job to help all the athletes. I think I forgot a couple times, like every morning we have to come in and get our temperature taken, and they're like calling me like, hey, it's before 11. I said, oh shoot, it's 11 or 10:55, and then I'm running down. So, but they're really helpful. We have our mask, our mask with us all the time. And yeah, it's good. Like they put the swab in our throat this time as soon as we got from the airport. They said they didn't put on the nose because all the MMA fighters have broken noses, so it was a lot harder. But we have another throat swab tomorrow after the weigh-ins, and then we're like 24 hours locked down. So it's different. It's definitely different, you know. Of course, I wanted to like go and have a good meal after the weigh-ins and stuff. Even like on a girl standpoint, you know, I do my braids tomorrow, and then I'm gonna be like 24 hours with hair braids in, you know. So I just told them, oh, but I still have like 2 more trainings that I'll do with my hair, you know. I don't know if we'll be in by the time I fight, you know, and like, hey, that's what we gotta do. So okay, like, okay, let's do it, you know. I'm gonna do our best. So it's definitely challenging, but you know, it's everyone is doing a good part of the team, is doing a good job.
And Mackenzie, you talked about being a mom, and I hope I have the information correctly. Your daughter was born June of last year in 2019, and then you had a fight in October, like 4 months later, and obviously that didn't go your way. It did go unanimous decision. It went to a decision. Do you feel like it's easier, a little easier now that you've had almost a year, that you've been a mom and training? I know the COVID put things back, but do you feel like you're getting a better handle now because you were such a new mom? Not to make any excuses.
Yeah, no excuses, you know. I mean, definitely I think being a mom is a little bit more natural, you know, like when I'm not breastfeeding on this time, you know, so that's a little bit easier. I think just with Moa not all the time wanting to be on me, you know. Of course, back then she slept a lot more. Now it's like even during the training, everything was she's running around. I have to like control her a little bit more, but now she understands, you know, yes, no, and these things. So I think it's definitely and because of the coronavirus, we go like the academy and then straight home. So I'm spending way more time with her during camps. I think most of the fighters, one of the things they talk about is when they have camp, you have like less time with your family and you're kind of more stressed and all these things. And with the coronavirus, it's a little bit opposite. You know, I have way more time with her and my husband. So and I think yeah, just being a little bit more you know, mature as a mom, it's a lot easier to do everything and juggle the training and being a mom.
And we got to get back out there surfing too, right?
Yeah, Huntington Beach where I live, it's just the only beach that wasn't closed the whole pandemic time. So we live on Huntington Beach and able to surf too. So it's crazy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll take the next question from Adam Hill with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Adam, please go ahead.
Yeah. You were talking about, you know, being more ready now and kind of understanding that balance of motherhood and fighting and everything else. Do you wish you would have waited longer to take that fight last time?
No, definitely not. I feel so good with my decision to have fought then. You know, I know people who get injured like knee surgeries and they stay out a long time. And I never been like, I have knee surgeries before, but in MMA I never took, since my first MMA fight to my seventh fight was always like every 2 months I was fighting. So I had never been like a long time away from fighting. It was kind of, everyone's saying the ring rust, you know. I don't know if it was like real or not, you know. So I said, man, the sooner I can be back in fighting, the better, you know. And I did everything I could to make sure I didn't miss weight. Since my last fight before being pregnant, I had missed weight. And everyone, oh, of course, after you're pregnant, you're not going to make weight even more and all these things. So I really dedicated myself 100% to that fight. I was as best prepared possible as I could be. Amanda was just the better fighter that night. And yeah, you know, and even though I lost, I the same thing. I kept telling like Nick, like, hey, I want to fight. Give me a fight soon. I'm not injured, nothing, you know, I can go. But then it took like, with everything happening, it's taking a while to be able to get back in. So just to be here, I'm happy. I would have fought way sooner if I had the opportunity.
And you were talking about how much different it is to deal with a loss in MMA than in jiu-jitsu because you can come back so much quicker, you know, even win that next day. So how was that process? Like, how long did it take you to kind of accept it and deal with it? And like, what was that time like when you were trying to get over it?
I think for me it was okay. Like the hardest thing, honestly, was just seeing like all these people like fighting, you know, and people just kind of kept talking about my loss or trying to find maybe like an excuse of why I lost, like, oh, because you came back too soon, or oh, because you're not the same fighter anymore after being pregnant and everything, your body's different, you're not going to be as athletic, or you're scared now, or just things like that, you know. For me, until today, I haven't seen my fight. I haven't watched it, you know. I know I did my best in the fight. I wasn't able to get the win, you know. So for me, the hardest thing was just be like asking for fights and then seeing all these people fighting, you know. And I'm like, man, when they gonna give me a fight? Like, okay, I know I lost, but man, I wasn't like beat up, you know. I wasn't like, you know, knocked out. I didn't look like I wasn't meant to be there, you know. Like, I have so much potential and so much to prove. So it was just like crazy to be back in there.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mackenzie. That's all the time we had for you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.